I'm Nadia Gurwell.
I'm John Gugliatino.
I'm Michelle Blanchard. Welcome to 30 Minutes.
Hello everyone, Nadia Gurwell. I am your host and producer. Today, my guest is Nessie Rodriguez, and she is a financial coach. She's going to be talking to us about financial planning, especially for moms, because that's what I like to talk about a lot. How financial planning, it's very important when it comes to having kids and preparing for all of those emergencies that could come up. So let's get to my guest, Nessie. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
I
you're
really
so
appreciate
welcome.
it.
I'm thrilled to have you on. It's going to be a really good show because it's information that not just moms could use, but
Absolutely.
everyone
Right.
can use. Financial matters are very important. So tell me a little bit about you, your story.
Sure. So before I got into financial services, I was working with victims of domestic violence, and I used to counsel them. Soon after, I became a life coach for them, and I was really working with them. I'm very passionate about it because as a survivor myself, I know how difficult it is to get out of a toxic relationship. And I have children, I have
How many children do you
I have
have?
3 children.
What are the ages?
They're 13, well actually she just turned 14 on the 1st. I have a 12-year-old and I also have a 9-year-old. The oldest is a girl. And so, I have to lead by example. She's
Right.
watching all the time and she likes to imitate me a lot. So I
She looks exactly like you.
That's what they say. That's what they
Yeah.
say. She's beautiful. But one of the things that really intrigued me was because I was a survivor myself, I really became passionate about helping women. And so prior to that, I got involved in financial services, and I thought, well, why not use this resource to help them? Because one of the main reasons that women stay in toxic relationships is because of financial dependency.
Is that really?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of,
Okay.
there are many other reasons,
Right.
but one of the main reasons is financial dependency. And I said, if I could provide another resource for these women to get out of that toxic relationship and become financially independent, why not? And so I use that to my advantage to help them and to also help myself, really because I learned we provide, a lot of financial education, and I've learned along the way that it's so important to have like that safety net,
Yes.
and having an emergency
Yes.
fund, saving for retirement, providing proper protection for families, and eventually doing, what my goals and dreams are, or even college savings for my children. So that's what really interested me, and that's really like the beginning of it all. So
And you're a single mom.
I am a single
right,
mom.
You're a single mom of 3 kids.
Yes.
That's very impressive, and it's hard.
it is. It
How do
is.
you balance that?
Well, I mean, once you're used to it, you kind of just go day by day. But in the beginning, I'm not gonna say it was it was
no,
easy.
it's not an easy ride.
Definitely not. I because of the abuse that I went through, I ended up getting divorced, and I thought that was going to be like the end of it, and I tried to make things work afterwards, but I realized that my kids are more important than any relationship, and it's better to have one parent with having a one parent healthy relationship or a healthy household than having 2 parents in a household that are just not working out, arguing all the time, and the kids are listening to the arguments and the fighting, and it's just not healthy for them. And I want them to grow up in a safe environment.
Yeah, because they model that. They
Absolutely.
start believing that that's what's the norm.
Absolutely.
So then when they have their own relationships, they transfer that over.
Absolutely.
Because that's what they saw growing
Definitely,
up. So I'm
definitely.
glad that you recognize to a certain point that this is not okay. That it's much better that I'm in, even if I'm not in a relationship, but that I'm on my own with my kids and we're
Right.
all happy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it just came to a point where they were questioning, and it's like, what, they know they're not they. A
No,
lot
they
of
know,
parents
yeah.
think that, oh, well,
No, the
they don't
kids-
understand.
yeah.
They do
They
understand.
understand more than you think.
Absolutely. And they start to question, and I don't want them to feel insecure in any type of way. So, if I'm going to sit here and empower other women, the first woman I need to empower is my daughter and myself. and my boys who will become men and somebody's husband one day,
Right.
you know, so I definitely needed to do that at home first.
So, for moms and dads who just had kids or have kids already and would like to get life insurance, which is very important because you never know what could happen to mom or dad.
Sure.
You just never know. How do you go about guiding them
Sure.
with that process?
So we do a
Because
lot
I'm sorry, first,
No, no,
I'm
it's
sorry,
fine.
just a lot of people have this idea that it's very expensive to get life insurance, and it's not
It isn't, right.
really, and it's worth it.
Right. And I like to put it this way. It's more expensive to wait until something happens and not have the funds than to spend a little bit of money that we could possibly be already spending on our phones, on
Right.
on things
Coffee.
on coffee,
Nails.
on cable. I mean, if it came down to me having to pay one or the other bill, my life insurance will be getting paid first. And that's just one of the fundamentals of our business. We help families build like a financial game plan. And one of the first things that's the foundation. Like, let me ask you something. If you want to build a sturdy house, and what is the first thing that they lay out to build a house?
Foundation.
The foundation,
Yeah.
and you want to build it strong, right? And so that's the first thing that we do for our families is we make that a solid foundation for them, which is income protection, in other words, life insurance. And we want to make sure that these families have the proper protection. Now, in terms of the question, expensive, we don't necessarily consider that expensive for the simple fact that we make it affordable for families. You see, we do this acronym, we call it DIME, and it stands for death and debt, the D. The I stands for income, and financial gurus do say that you should have 8 to 10 years of financial income. That way, the family has time to kind of get back on their feet and everything. The M stands for mortgage, and E stands for education. Now, all of those are very significant things that they need in their life. And so we take that, we add it up, and that's pretty much what the basis of their coverage would be. That's what they need in order to make sure that if a family member dies, all of that debt is covered. However, we also look into affordability, because if they feel that it's too much, we make it affordable for the family so that they could pay it on a monthly basis, because even if they have a little bit of coverage, it's better than no coverage. So essentially, we make it affordable for them.
Yeah, very important, because like I said, if something, you never know, their dad could get hit by a car.
Absolutely. You never know, right?
Yeah.
Leaving here, you
Yeah.
know, anything can happen.
They could come, they could get terminally ill, like from one day to another, something, devastating could happen. And then mom is left with like this huge weight on her of mortgage, food, hospital, medical bills,
Cars,
funeral.
everything. Everything is a debt. Everything is an expense. College savings, especially when you have smaller children. I mean, later in the years when you're older, you may not need as much coverage because the children are older, because your mortgage
Yeah, you
is
can
paid
reduce
off.
it, right?
Absolutely.
Every year you can reduce it.
And so, essentially what you want to do is make sure that you have the funds available to you and available to your family, because you're pretty much the income for your family. Once that income is gone, everything else crumbles. Even if you have a house and it's not paid off, everything's going to crumble, because on one income nowadays most families are not paying it unless there's two incomes in the household. So,
And even if it's like, let's say, two incomes that are coming in, sometimes the dad has two jobs.
yes,
Not just one,
Right.
but like a full-time and then a part-time
absolutely.
to supplement.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that we teach families. In addition to having all these financial services, we also provide families an opportunity to make extra money. So we
Oh,
actually
right.
bring people in,
Yeah.
and we show them how to not only do this for themselves, but we show them how to do it
So
for
talk
other
to me
families.
about that a little bit. How
Sure.
did you get into that? It's is it network marketing or multi-level marketing?
It is like multi-level marketing, but we're kind of like a hybrid from it. We don't necessarily like using multi-level marketing, for the simple fact that we do work with people one-on-one.
Right.
This is not like online based or anything. Essentially, you do become a broker, and we have state and federal licenses.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay, so it is quite a lengthy process that you
It
have to
is.
go through.
It is not too long, actually. We kind of do it fairly quickly, but we provide all of the classes that
Okay.
they need for a small investment fee, and then they are eligible to take 4 different licenses. Again,
Okay.
we are, you know, we're the biggest industry that's regulated, which is the financial services. And so, you know, they just want to make sure that we're working with legit people. So,
Yeah,
So,
definitely that, you know, you're being held accountable for
Definitely.
it, and you're not giving out like wrong information.
No. We have to make sure that everything is, you know, we have to cross our T's and dot our I's, definitely.
Yeah, how long have you been with them as a representative? of
Well,
the
I've been
company?
with them for 2 years,
Okay.
and I'm a division leader in the company, and I'm soon to open an office within the next year or so. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, and that you know, network marketing is great for moms,
Mm-hmm.
great for, you know, single moms, stay-at-home moms,
Yes.
women in general, because it's so flexible.
Absolutely. That's one of the major reasons that I got involved too, was because I get to spend more time with my kids.
Right.
I mean, if
Right.
we, you know, working a 9 to 5, don't get me wrong, it pays the bills. It does. But it takes time. It
Yes.
takes time, the driving back and forth to work, making sure that you,
And what do you do also when there's a snow day?
oh, true.
There's 3 in Stanford.
In
Wednesday,
this
Thursday,
week.
today.
In this
Yes.
week, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I could come into work whenever, schedule my appointments when I can, just like other, you know, I do it on the basis that other people are able to meet with me as well. So I love that I get to be home when my kids are home, be home when they go to school, and I'm
Right.
able to cook for them, spend time with them. If I need to make an appointment, I do so at that time too. And you know, the compensation is great for me. You know, it's not something that I'm not a millionaire, and I don't intend to be yet. But you know, if I do someday,
You
that'll
will
be
be.
phenomenal. But I think that most importantly is freedom.
Yes.
I love
Time freedom.
the having the freedom.
Time
That's
freedom.
the most important part. Just because I have children.
Right, because you know, you want to be there for your kids. You don't want to
Absolutely.
miss those moments.
Absolutely.
Special moments with them, especially when they get home from school. You know, you want to be there. You don't want other people watching them. You want to help them with their homework, give them their snacks. Like if they've had a bad day, talk to them about it. Don't get me wrong. Not every day with your kid is going to be like amazing.
All right.
They're a lot of work.
Of course.
They're a lot of work. But, you know, it's those little moments that make it, you know,
Definitely.
memorable. Now, since we're talking about kids, tell me, do you talk to your kids about money?
I definitely
What
do.
do you tell them? And
that's a
how
great
young
question.
should you start them on?
I think that's a phenomenal question.
Yeah,
and I
because they should
definitely
be.
do.
Because they
Yeah.
think, like my kids think, you know, that there's like a money well. You know, that whatever they want.
Or that money grows on trees.
Right. Or, you know, grandma, like, I just want this, and I'll ask grandma, and grandma will bring it. And of course, grandma will bring it.
Sure.
But they need to know that that's not always going to be, you know, the case.
Right. And I definitely do talk to my children about it, and I highly recommend
What have you
that
told them?
families do that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have is the envelope system, and Dave Ramsey was one of the ones that I learned it from. I read a lot of personal development.
Yeah.
And I learned it from him because the envelope system really helps you kind of organize your finances. And so when you're talking to kids, one of the things that is really neat, and you don't have to do like a whole envelope system with the bills and the expenses and the retirement accounts, but have a little savings for them. And I taught them that you should save 10%. Earl Nightingale actually stated, he's
I know who he is.
you know who he
Yeah,
is, okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Earl Nightingale, he stated
Yeah.
that you should save 10% of all your earnings. And that's exactly what I show my kids. I mean, if you earn $1, save 10 cents. By the time you have enough savings, you could use that savings for whatever it is that they want
Right.
to do. Everything else, I mean, they like to buy silly things, dollar store toys or candies or whatnot, but save at least 10% of what you receive. I also have them donate envelope, and then I have their spending. My daughter, she uses jars. It's easier for her, but she has like dollars in there. I mean, sometimes I'm surprised I took a picture of it and posted it on social media because I'm just surprised as to how much she's actually saved. She's saved enough to buy herself like a pair of sneakers. Now she's 14, you know, she's at that age where she just wants all these cool
Yeah.
teenage things. And now she's saving up for a phone. So I mean, I couldn't even be more proud of her. And it's really just small little adjustments, you know, letting them know like just save a little bit of this, and believe me, it's better for the long run instead of the immediate, you know.
So do they get an allowance?
They do not get an allowance.
Where's the money come
They've
from?
been asking for
Yeah.
an allowance, but my daughter, she'll do like babysitting sometimes. So things that are like big,
Okay.
you know, they'll definitely receive some money for it.
And what about the younger ones? then?
The younger ones, the same thing. They'll do like bigger jobs, like for something that's big for my son. Like if he helps me with, we moved recently, so he helped me with the move, and you know, I think that one of the things was, you know, getting a lot of boxes and stuff like that. And it's not typical for like a 9-year-old to do a lot of the stuff that he was doing. So I gave him some money, and you know, whether his grandparents give him money or whatnot, or savings from his birthdays. So it really depends on what it is. But they don't get an allowance. They've been asking for one, and I've considered because they should work for it. That's another thing. It's teaching them that they need to work for their money.
Yeah,
So.
that it's not free.
Right.
Because then they get used to it and
Right,
they
no.
expect it all the time. So I'm going to shift a little bit
Sure.
here from the kids. If you have someone that comes to you, right, who's like in a mom, let's say a single mom, who just recently, you know, got divorced or, you know, separated, and she's like in a lot of debt. And she needs to get back on her feet.
Right.
What do you recommend?
So
for
one of
her?
the, and that's a great question. One of the things that we have in our business is called a financial needs analysis. And what we do is we take basic information about what their income is, what their debt is, and what we do is we stack their debt. And we have this debt stacking system where it helps you eliminate debt quicker than what you would typically do. So for example, if they were paying off credit cards and they were paying off you know, student loans and everything, we kind of organize it in a way so that they are paying off what the highest interest rate is first, so that they're not paying so much into that. Because if you think about it, most people have they pay their debt in a way where they're never going to get out of debt. They're going to get out of debt by the time they're like 70 or
So
80.
are you saying because they're paying only the minimums?
So they're either paying only the minimums, or they're paying it wrong, or they're not paying it at all. So we kind of organize it for them to pay off. And then because our business, you know, brings people onto the business as well, we show them how to make extra income. And so if I saw a family or a mom that came to me and she needed to make extra income, I would show her how to eliminate that, and I would also show her how to make extra income while properly protecting her family.
You know, because money is a very sensitive topic,
is.
and a lot of people are very, just, you know, protective of, you know, how much debt they have. They don't want to talk about it.
Definitely.
They don't want to spend the money. Do you have a lot of people who have money hang-ups?
Definitely, and that's the beauty of it, because we are home delivery, so we go to people's homes. We don't want to discuss these things in you know, McDonald's or anything like that, or any type of other place. No matter what, we bring it to their kitchen table. We discuss these things in their comfort of their own home, and we make sure that we do, you know, provide confidential services. We don't share this information with anybody. And a lot of families have a lot of hang-ups, and you'd be surprised, some of the people that, you know, portray a rich lifestyle have some of the biggest hang-ups. So it's really interesting to kind of see all the family dynamics, and you know, I really enjoy being able to help all types of families, you know, and really what we do is bring Wall Street to Middle Street, you know, and we want to help middle class families get, you know, back on their feet and out of debt and become financially independent.
So if they followed, you know, the system that you provide for them for getting out of debt, how many years would that take?
It really depends on how much debt they have.
Okay, so if someone had, like, let's give an example here of like $50,000 in debt, no.
Essentially, I mean, I can't give like an exact number, but I know, you know, for me, I was in a lot of debt as well.
Were you?
Like about 50, 60,000, especially with the student loans. I had a lot of student loans. I went to college and everything. And you know, that takes some time. It takes some time, but I would say that, you know, between 5 to 6 years, you could essentially be completely debt free.
Yeah.
As long as you follow the system.
Okay.
You
You
as
don't
long as you
like
follow the system.
get off it and take a little U-turn on it, a detour, and
Well,
yeah.
people do,
Oh,
of
they do.
course. You know, you can't say that they do it. People get tired of like saying, "Oh, I'm paying off my debt. I'm paying off my debt." A lot
They
of-
want to spend the money.
They want to spend the money, and so sometimes they'll get discouraged because it's like, you know, I don't feel like I'm seeing any results.
Right.
But it's long term, not short term. And a lot of people feel like have that impulsive feel that I want to get out of debt like tomorrow.
Well, they
and
want
it's not
instant
realistic.
gratification.
Exactly.
Everyone does.
Exactly.
No, and when that doesn't happen, then they start getting frustrated.
Right.
And wondering.
it's all mindset. And that's
yeah.
where the coaching comes in.
Yes,
That's why I'm here
mindset.
to hold you accountable, you know? And I love that because it's like, I'm not just working in one area and here I'm providing you one service. I'm here all the time, you know, available to you at any time. You have a
That's
money
important.
hang up, call me.
That's
You
important.
know, let's look at this analysis all over again. Let's see where we can tweak something where, you know, you want a little extra spending cash. What can we do to help you? And we'll work on that with you. That's what financial coaching is all about.
No, it's great. Everyone should have someone
Definitely.
like that because it's a good support
Yes.
to have.
Yes. And I was one of those, I was very impulsive. Like, I just wanted to buy everything. And I really needed to realize, like, listen, I have a future, you know? And so my retirement is going to be so much more important because I'm not going to be able to work. I don't want to work forever. You know what I mean? There's going to be a point where I want to retire, but I want to be free when I retire. And so I needed to start looking at that and start thinking differently. And it really takes a lot of tweaking of your mindset.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's why I do a lot of personal development because
Yes.
it really helps with that
Every day.
mindset. Mhm.
Every day, an hour of mindset training
Yes.
is key. Because if you don't do that consistently, then you're gonna have like all this head trash,
Right.
and it's gonna
Right.
like affect the way you think, the way you
Definitely.
act, the way you talk to people. Now, where do you see yourself like in 2 years from here?
Well, in 2 years, I definitely see myself earning a lot more income. But
Do you see yourself being a millionaire?
not in 2 years, no. In I would say 10 years. I did give myself a goal of 10 years to become a millionaire. And, you know, I'm working on getting my own office within the end of this year, and so it really takes a lot of hard work and determination. You know, the work is simple, but it's not easy. And so I know, you know, through experience that no matter what it is, I know I have to believe in myself and work hard for it. And so that's what I always recommend to other people is like, you want something, you go for it, but you have to work hard. It doesn't come easy, you know? And so that's where I see myself.
Yeah, because like I said, they want instant gratification.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to work for it.
Right, but that's where a lot of personal development
Yes.
comes in. You have
Yes.
to really work on that mindset because it's not overnight success.
No.
It never is.
But what about like I'm sure you've had quite a bit of obstacles and failures. So what have you learned from those?
Oh, definitely a lot of failures.
Failure
you
is
just
good.
It is. It is. It's always a learning experience. Always a learning experience. And to me, it's more like, well, I gotta understand that not everyone is going to agree with you. And I think that's one of the hardest parts for me because I always feel like I know that what I'm providing is a good service, and sometimes I feel like, how come they're not listening? How come it's not, how come they're saying no? Which is okay. It doesn't mean no. It just means not right now.
Right.
Or it means they're not ready.
Right.
And I have to understand that not everybody's going to do it on my terms. Everybody has to do it on their own terms, and they have to learn from their own experiences. So.
It's about them, not you.
Absolutely.
People buy into your services, coaching, products when they feel that it's right for them.
Right.
You could talk about it all day long.
And timing is everything as well.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, it might not be right for them now, but it
Right.
could be right 6 months down the road.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so following up with families is also essential. So those are some of the obstacles that I've kind of got, encountered for myself. But, aside from like the divorce and, I feel like sometimes, the devil's kind of ganging up on you all at the same time. And so it's like, well, when am I going to get my breakthrough? But you just keep pushing through and pushing through and pushing through until you get there. Just be relentless. Don't give up.
No, failure is, giving up is not an option. Definitely not. So with, 4 minutes, okay. What are your final thoughts?
So my final thoughts really, to kind of put out into the world is, really, really stay committed to you and your family. As a single mom, it's been wonderful being able to kind of show my family what it's like to to be successful at something and really be passionate about it. And I love to use the word passionate, because when you go into something, do your best at it. And I think that would be, you know, my words for society out there, because if you wanna be an example, and you wanna be an expert in something, you just have to be passionate about it. And that's what I wanna do.
You have to be very
passionate.
consistent and like you said,
Absolutely.
persistent.
Persistency is key.
Yeah. Do you
Persistency
feel,
and
I mean,
consistency.
do you have those moments where you're like doubting yourself?
All the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. It's, I mean, you know, I may seem all positive
Right,
and smiley and everything,
yeah.
but I doubt myself. I'm human. I doubt myself. Sometimes I'm thinking, can I really do this? Am I really gonna make it? Am I gonna be single forever? You know, little questions like that on everything.
I know that feeling.
You know, but it's a matter of time. You know, like I said, in due time, timing is everything. But you know, it's a matter of getting your mindset into a state where you start believing in yourself and you don't give up on anything. So even though I feel doubtful at times, I keep going.
Let me ask you real quickly, because we're getting short on time. How do you deal with negativity?
I shut it down. Literally, that's the best answer I can give, because you know, sometimes it even comes from your own family members.
Oh, big time.
And it's unfortunate that it
Yes,
comes from your own
big
family,
time.
but you know, you have to kind of just think, if they knew better, they'd do better. And so,
That's a good one.
you know,
Yeah.
a lot of times negativity comes from fear. And there's nothing wrong with them giving you advice, but a lot of times they may feel that fear. And, you know, if McDonald's had listened to whoever, Ronald McDonald, or, you know, whoever started it, listened to whoever told them that wasn't going to work, there wouldn't be a million franchises out in the world. So.
And do you like keep a limit on like the amount of negative people, you know, that you surround yourself with?
Definitely. I've you know, there's some people that are inevitable. You know, you can't just avoid them.
Your mom, dad, sister.
Sometimes, but there are people that you could just say like, listen, I don't have time for that, and you just keep it moving. And you know, you could love them from afar. Doesn't mean you don't have to stop loving them. You could love them, but keep your distance.
And also limit like the time that your kids spend with them.
Definitely, because they suck that in easily, you know, and they start bringing it home. And that's one of the things I try to implement with them, is having that positive outlook. And they could be very negative too. My kids could be, you know, they're a little negative themselves because of what they hear at school.
Right,
or whatnot.
they bring it home.
Yeah,
they bring it home.
But it's training their mind. So.
Are they also listening to your mindset
They
training?
do, and I get so excited when I see them like reading. Like I know that my son was reading No Excuses.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that's a good
my gosh! And I was like, he did it all on his own, and I was like, oh my God, thank God! Like I was just praying, like he's doing it, you know. And they imitate what they see.
Yes,
so
definitely.
And he likes to read, so I'm glad that he's doing that.
Yeah. Listen, it was great to have you.
Thank you so
today.
much for having me.
No, thank you for
Appreciate
coming.
it.
I learned a lot. You know, I'm like super, you know, impressed with you know, what you're doing. And
Thank you.
please come back.
Sure,
and
definitely.
teach us some more on financial coaching. And
Definitely.
thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure to share this video and have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.